Alright, welcome back everyone to Kingdoms Reborn. It's a very different pace from my usual type of game, but I think that could be a good thing. It's meant to be a nice and relaxing sort of city building experience. So we need more farms, we need more wheat. I'm definitely a big fan from my limited experience in this game of making sure that we can feed everybody, because, well, starving people don't live for very long. So what we're going to do is, last time, to start off, oh, that was a mistake on my part. Last time to start off, we went ahead and, well, purchased access to two adjacent regions, one on our west and the other on our east. And the reason I did that is because if we take a look in at our farming fertility, we have very little chances for good farms on this whole island. Bit of a mistake on my part, really, because farming can be just that good at feeding everyone. But we have to do something about it, so we need to get early farms up with good fertility and good production in order to have decent access to food. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just setting up a couple of farms. We will build another couple additional houses here. I want to leave space for a road. So what we can do actually is we can set up the house so that it gives us our additional road, and just hold shift to bring those along that whole way. Now we still haven't built our quarry, and part of that reason is because it's kind of a pain to figure out a location that's acceptable, and it will make the houses nearby unhappy. So I think we'll just do right here in the middle of this little causeway area. And then we need to remember to create storage yards. So we'll create one here, and we'll go over toward the farms. And where's a good location? Is that still my farm? Yes, I think so. You know what? Let's do a small one right there as well. I think that should do it for right now. I need to make sure I've updated my gathering location to include this new area. And we're off to a prosperous start. We have 24 citizens. We have enough meat to go around for right now. Now that is from this hunting lodge, which will decrease in its yield over time as we basically fail to replace the wild animals that we're, well, hunting to extinction. So if we look at our available buildings, which are done, as was shown in the last episode as well, by random lottery through these cards, nothing really phenomenal here. I mean, the tavern's nice, but it doesn't really help us survive. We have 80 happiness right now, so we don't really need it that badly for that reason either. Our starting region is good for tulips, so maybe what we can do is we'll go right here where there's acceptable fertility. Well, is there? Let's see. Let's go right here. That should be okay. It's a little too uniform for me. We'll go ahead and go right there, and we'll specify this as a tulip farm. Now what this will do is we'll harvest tulips, and if we look at luxury tier 1, in order to upgrade houses from these ramshackle huts, we have to provide them with luxuries. And at first it only takes one tier 1 luxury to go from level 1 to level 2, then 2 tier 1 luxuries, level 2 to level 3, so on and so forth. And once you get to 3 of each at a single tier, you have to provide the next tier's luxury. So what we can also do is use something called a speed boost. It's this occasional ability that you get by virtue of playing the game, I suppose, to increase the production of any given building per unit time. So, alright, perhaps I should explain what this does. A forester is... Ooh, cool, hold on. Sorry. So many things can happen at once. So a forester just sits around and says, okay, wherever this is, we're going to make the forest nearby it regrow. And what I think we should do, since we are expanding in the east, is set this up in the west. And this will allow our little corner here to be reharvestable for more lumber for quite a long time. Although there is quite a bit of a delay for trees to regrow. I think it's 2-3 years maybe. Which will take, maybe an hour or two of game time, depends on the game speed. Now, we do have more population than we have available houses. That is something that we are currently fixing, and I'll put more houses up as well. But it can be a little bit difficult to do this sometimes. So whenever you go to build a building, your villagers will take the relevant supplies from these storage yards, if they're available, and bring them over, clear the surrounding area, then begin construction. So if you build something new very far away, oftentimes it will get overlooked as your villagers, I suppose, do other nearby tasks that are viewed by the game as, well, more optimal because it takes less time to get there, it's a more efficient thing for them to do, more efficient distribution of resources. On the other hand, sometimes they'll do this. All 42 wood is allocated to this farm, but they haven't actually begun construction because it's not cleared. They haven't cleared it because they're clearing other things, which are also slowly getting the wood allocated to them. So our wood stockpile is very low, but a lot of it is just sitting uselessly over here in these farms that we haven't even put together yet. And that's a bit of a risk because those farms are our food. They are our lifeblood. And if we don't get a good harvest, we're going to starve in the winter. If we don't have enough wood, we're going to freeze in the winter. I have managed occasionally to avoid freezing during winter, just the once or twice I've tried before this, but it's difficult. And the first time I tried with my buddy, I froze and starved, and we restarted the game because my population went from, 27, 28 to, well, pretty close to 0. I think I was down to 6 or 7 people. Certainly not very many more than that. So one thing that you'll notice is that every building that can be worked has this little group of population nearby it. And in this case for the farm, there's 2 allowable. And for farms, it scales based off of the size of the farm. So if I built a smaller farm, it would only be 1. If I built a bigger farm, it could be far more. I can't see it on this one right now because the allocation is for builders, which are a maximum of 2 or 1, depending on the building type, at least as far as I've seen. It doesn't go any larger than that. So, what will happen with farms is that these workers will be pulled seasonally to work on farms. If you have other jobs, say, a miner or a furniture maker or something like that, the furniture maker will stop making furniture in order to assist with the harvest unless you have excess laborers. So if you take a look at our town center right now, we have 8 extra laborers. And that means that we have 8 more people than we have, what you and I would consider city jobs type things, I guess. So we don't lose any of our jobs, not that we really have any to begin with, whenever the harvest needs to be done. I think we will set up, so we're struggling a little bit for money, that's sort of why I'm being slow buying these cards. I think we should set up a fishing lodge. I think we will get an iron mine, not that we necessarily want to build one quite yet, but the fishing lodge will definitely help. It's not the most effective way to make food, and I have starved before trying to rely on them. But, with that said, they are certainly... They won't make you as much food as you want, but they will make you food consistently, and that sometimes is good enough. Especially right now when we're relying on seasonal harvest with farms we haven't built. Harvest will begin in autumn every year, and so, this is our food stockpile to get through the winter, and it's very small. And more than that, if we're just going off of farms, we have to not only last through the winter, but we have to last all the way through to the next autumn until when we begin harvesting again. So we can do a speed boost here on the hunting lodge. It's already producing less than it was previously. Let's see, they want to buy some of our stuff. You know what? I will sell these guys some leather. So, selling for 625, 80 units, I guess, kilograms, whatever you want to call it, of leather. And then there is a fee subtracted. There are ways to lower that, but we don't have any right now. And I think now we will go for foreign trade. We should have gone for the immigrant hut when we had the chance. It would have been very nice. We can also unlock medicinal herb seeds. Now, I don't think these are necessary until probably your second, maybe third year when you begin to run out of actual medicine. Before then, if I was to put this field to medicinal herbs, we wouldn't be generating food, and that's a nice way to starve. So, a little bit of a trade-off there. You have to do in your head, you have to sort of understand and anticipate what needs you'll have to fill. We are being really slow at building new houses, so let's prioritize building here, and let's prioritize building here, and hopefully this way we'll stop being overpopulated for the amount of towns that we can support. Okay, so we're building up cards faster than well, I guess we have some fair money now, but ranches used to be bugged. I'm not sure if they still are. Not really willing to take the risk. I think I could go for second fishing lodge. We should take the immigration office. And maybe even a charcoal burner. That might be a good idea. And then, if you're down to one card, you can cycle it for free. So, I'm gonna do that. And it ends up that it really doesn't make that much of a difference. I'm gonna take just the fishing lodge, either way. Although, maybe the tavern. No, we don't need it yet. So the fishing lodges will, as I said before, provide repeatable, if not excellent, sources of food. So let's go ahead and build a second one here. The efficiency is lowered because we're so close by to another fishing lodge, but that's okay. We don't have all that much space, and I'd like to keep them sort of close by. We will also build a storage yard right here. I think that'll be fine. It should help us a little bit. And so the charcoal burner consumes wood, makes coal, relatively straightforward. Well, charcoal anyway. I guess it's just labeled as coal here. But if we don't have enough wood, we will run out. And it will be worse off than if we didn't have, well, just wood, let alone charcoal for heating, even though charcoal is technically more effective. So where I'm going with that is that I'm debating internally whether or not I even want to build it right now, and I'm not rightly sure what the answer would be. Let's build another. So these fishing lodges will be an excellent crutch until our farms are ready to go. Once our farms are ready to go, there won't really be that much of a benefit to the fishing lodges, but that's okay. We need food right now. That's the order of the day, especially because the hunting lodge, well, it's gone up a little bit, but it has never reached that peak that it had when we first started it. And that's even through production bonuses, right? That won't really be enough to carry us through. As it stands right now, we should probably save some money. We're hitting winter. I have extra buildings and a productivity book, which I haven't yet used. So you can assign different books, such as the productivity book, to buildings, and, well, it will boost their productivity. The trade-off is that sometimes that's not something that you want. You can remove them, but if I was to boost the hunting lodge, we'll just basically over-hunt even faster. It won't really be a good thing. However, if we're going to avoid starving, we need these fishing lodges to be made, so I'm going to prioritize those. Hopefully they do it. Otherwise, we'll be reliant on fruit that the laborers can get from chopped down trees. I think let's redefine our gather borders to include down here. I like these farms up before spring. As I said earlier on, if you make them too far out, your builders just won't get around to it, and sure enough, ours haven't. They've prioritized things that we put down far later, just because they're nearby. So, we're trying to build too much, we're trying to do too much at once, and hopefully we won't suffer too badly for it. Alright, well I think we'll leave it here. Thank you guys for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.